Could do this. Simon Reish Tzadi Zayin. So they're very interesting. The dinim of the Besomim on Havdala. So says the Mechaber Sif Aleph. Mevarich al Besomim im Yeshlei. You make a bracha on Besomim Motzei Shabbos and Havdala if you have. Vim ein lei ein tzarich lachza achareihem. And if you haven't got Besomim, you haven't got. You don't have to make too much effort to go find. Says the Mevarich al Besomim. Now, if you look at before we go into the Mishnah Berurah, footnote number 1. What if you forgot to make the bracha on the Besomim and you remember after you finished Havdala? You said the bracha of Hamavdil. So he says here, before you drank, I mentioned this because this is what you put on the group yesterday. This is what the Mishnah Berurah means. When it says that Chachamim when Havdala was niskan ala kais, that means the whole ceremony of Havdala should be around the kais. Like Kiddush, with Mekadesh Shabbos ala kais. So we say Ber Gofen, but the whole ceremony should be around the kais. Well, so to Havdala. So, and therefore, here's a good example. You make you make a Ber Gofen. You then go to the Ner and you're about to drink the wine, and you think, hey, Besomim, I forgot the Besomim. What do you do? So says Rav Shlomo Zalman that you can quickly do the thing on the Besomim before the kais, because the whole thing was Mesukan on around the kais. That's what it means. Okay. Let's do the Mishnah Berurah. Sif Katan Aleph. Va'bracha hu, and what bracha do you make on the Besomim? Is Beirei Minei Besomim. Aleize min shehu. Whatever the min of the Besomim is. Afshe b'chol tzarech levarach al kol min b'b'cholsei. Even though during the week we get quite specific. Dahainu al atzei Besomim, we say Beirei atzei Besomim. Al isvei Besomim, Beirei isvei Besomim. Uchadil el Besomim reish tezayin. Va'ayin shon. Oid kama protim b'zeh. Mikol mokum b'motzei Shabbos mevarchin al hakol bari minim somim. But generally, on Motzei Shabbos we make the standard bracha, the more general bracha of bari minei b'somim. Why? Kadei shelo yavo litos halmonam. Because otherwise people are going to get confused. She'ein hakol b'kiyin b'chol bracha hamiyuchedes. Right? That's on Yom Kippur when they put the different things out on the tray and you smell the different things. It's Atzei Besomim, Isvei Besomim. It's quite confusing, right? And people are not expert in that. And therefore, this bracha zu yetze alakol, the bracha of Berei Minei Besomim, is the catch-all, is the general bracha. Or Kamesh Shekasav Sham B'Siv Aleph. When we call Makom Lechatchila Tov Yosef Shikach LeBesomim Dova Shebirchas Berei Besomim. But the best thing to do is to find things which are definitely Berei Minei Besomim items. Kagain, what are they? Hamusk Shekarin Pism, which is musk. Oy negelich, which at the bottom he translates as siperim, which is cloves, which I think is the most contemporary. I don't know about everyone else, but that's what we use. Cloves. Shegam zel harba achrein birchasu berim ne besomim. Mutal levarich berim ne besomim al palpel in shekarin English pepper. Here we go. We get a shout out. English pepper. Shegam zel bichlal besomim. Yeah, Chaim, you're not happy. Avol bestam palpelin yesh deyas. If it would have been Hungarian, you'd have been okay, right? Avol bestam palpelin yesh deyas ben apoiskim v'avisofik bracha. V'chein zingvel, which is ginger, shekar and ingba, yeah. Ein tzorech lach zachem. But if you haven't got besam, you have to run after them. Why? She'ein mevarchim aleim el lahoshiv hanefesh. The reason why you have besam Motzei Shabbos is because the neshama yasera is gone, and you feel a bit down, a bit sad that Shabbos is gone, and therefore you have besam to pick you up. But if you can't find it, sheikavas misiyah Shabbos, and therefore if you can't find it, you can't find it. Kosvu achreinim sha'af misha mis'ane b'Shabbos tzorich levarach al besam Motzei Shabbos. Even if for some reason you had a tanis chaloim or whatever reason you're fasting on Shabbos, you still need to have the mitzvah besam and Motzei Shabbos. Ma she'en kein b'yom kippurim. Af k'shechol b'Shabbos ein tzorich levarach b'Motzei Shabbos b'Motzei yom kippurim. Now, interestingly, in the footnote in the back, he says that's not the contemporary practice. And now, when Yom Kippur falls on a Shabbos, we do make the bracha of Besomim that seems to be the mainstream practice. Okay. Seif base. Ein mevarch al besomim shal beis hakisei. You can't use make a bracha Motzei Shabbos and Havdala on besomim, which are used like as an air freshener or something to make a pleasanter smell in the beis hakisei in the bathroom. For lo shel mesim, or to take away the bad smell of a mace which has passed away. Or hanasunim lemalim mitasa, which v'dafka hanasunim lemalim mitasa, dafka something which has been placed above the bed of the mace shal mace. For lo al besomim shebe mesibos over the kichavim, nor on besomim used for parties of idolaters to stom misibos and ovdus of avodas kichavim, because some of their parties were used for idolatrous purposes. Says the Ramovim berach al besomim elu, and if you do make a brach on these besomim lo yatsa for tzarich lachsa v'varich al acherim, you got to find other besomim to make a bracha on. Says the Mishnah Berurah shal beis hakisei the kol zeh lav l'reicha avidi el aburi reich l'hasirchen, because these are not to make a positive smell; they're to take away the bad smell, and that's not good enough for besomim purposes. L'malam mitosei, the smells of besomim you put on the head of the bed of a mace. Avanasun lifnei mitosei, but if it's put elsewhere, then mevarchin. Shani omer lekovet Chaim hemasuyim. It's for the kovet Chaim and not for take away the bad smell. Sheb mesivas avidus kachovim, ovdi kachovim. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Cotton Hey, Hainu shemasubin la'achila v'lesuda. They're sitting to eat and to have a meal. Avalim lo'im mesubin klal mutar levarach al besamim shem. But if they weren't sitting and eating and partying, then you're allowed to make a bracha besamim on those things. V'chein masik hataz lahalocha b'simin reish adiches Sif Cotton Hey. Umikol moken kosel lebesoif to tov lechatchila lochash ledas Rabbeinu Yonah desvirlei destam besamim shalov t'kechovim omid lebesoif lemarchon aviris gilulim. At the end, they're going to be used for sale for idolatrous purposes. Ve'ein levarach aleim im lo moken shenir she'ein omid unless you know for sure that they're not going to be sold for avodah zarah. Kugain shehu tagar is a merchant. Shadakar limkar oisam la'anoshim harbe. His derech is to sell them. Oidakar l'shuma b'som l'tafshel shelo. He's going to use them for cooking. Oz ein issa levarich alein afil l'das Rabbeinu Yonah. But otherwise, one should avoid them. Okay, Gimel. Let's just try and finish the simon. It goes quite quickly. Gimel. Sakim meleim besamim. If you got sacks full of besamim, shemasimin ha'elim yehudim toich kanknei hayayin, you put inside the bottles of wine. Afa pisha mutal ariach bohem ein mavdilin alein. Again, you shouldn't use those for Havdala. Why not? Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sif Cotton Vav, she'ein hayayin nosim b'hem tam, because the wine is not giving them tam. But you don't normally smell the besamim in the wine. Ela adarabba, heim nosim tam bayayin. Really, the besamim meant to give a taste for the tam for the wine, and therefore they're not there for smelling purposes. You're not thinking about the smell of the wine; it's just the smell of the tavlin. Because they're considered mos. If you've got a jar, a pot, a keli, which has absorbed the taste of the besomim, you don't make a bracha on that. You need actual besomim, the actual besomim themselves. If you've got some dust or some little fragments of the besomim left in the jar, then then mutar levarich, then it would be mutar. All right, let's just finish off. It's a good place to finish off. Interesting. It says the Mechaber, if you can for besomim, use a hadas. V'yesh oimim, says the Ramad, the ein levarach al hadas hayovish. If it's dried out, you can't. The ein meirech, it doesn't smell anymore. Rak al shar besomim, use other besomim. V'chein nagum dinas elu. V'nirli the yesh laniach gam hadas ima besomim de ozoisin kekula alma. So you can put a bit of hadasim in your jar of cloves. Then lekula alma you're good. It says the Mishnah Berurah Ches al hadas pirush d'shal lulav. I.e., we're talking about the hadas that you used in your lulav and esrog. Given this avid bechad mitzvah, since you used it for one mitzvah, la'avid ba mitzvah achrisa, use it for another mitzvah. The davka b'shayimos hashana, and that's davka for throughout the year. For lo b'sukkos, but on sukkos itself, not. Why? To huksul mitzvah, because it's set aside for the mitzvah of the arba minim. Or mashekosov kol heicha de'efsha, hainu kol heicha sheyesh be'oidrech k'tzatz. It's got a bit of smell still. Then mitzvah lechatchila lahader al acharov. To use that after sukkos for Havdala. V'chein kosov b'zeh v'somech l'dvar tachas hatzar p'dia lehadas. V'somech lei shemesh shabbos meichaleloi. So it's connected. V'hayesh oimim svir lehu. The kiven dinis yabish, once it's dried out, v'nitl memeno ikarech ein levarechal. We should make a bracha on it. Im besomim. So therefore the eitzah is, says the Ramah, take the hadas and put it with your besomim. Im ein lei yachal levarech gam al hatzovim sheyesh laim lereach toiv. You can make on the grasses and things like that, which have got a good smell. V'chanal b'sif cotton aleph. Da'oz oisin kekula alma. Because then you put the hadasim with the cloves or with the besomim and you're good. I'm betal shekozov amat isa betur b'shem Rabbeinu Ephraim sheholel lezuchuchis miuchedes. He has a special besomim holder, and shehoyi boy minei besomim v'hoy mevorech aleihen. V'after la'aloch yesh l'sad yochel levorech b'remni besomim gamal ha'besomim shehoy menochem b'bayis tzorech hatavshel. I can go to my cupboard and take out from the cooking cupboard all different spices and use that. However, Kimish and Notlin Atza Biyod Lerech Bohen, V'chein Gosav B'Sefer Tosef Shabbos B'Shitos Mikol Makom. Rabbeinu Ephraim also the mitzvah namufcha, and therefore people generally have a separate besomim holder that they use, especially for the mitzvah. Sheyichid Osom Mitchil L'Shem Reach Mitzvah. V'chein Nagin Roiv Ha'olam Shemiyachtin Kli Lezev V'Kerin Osei Hadas Al Shem Shoyim Anichin Shom B'Doros Hashem Hadas K'dei L'Horiach. Okay, let's just finish. Mi she'ena meriach. Sorry, keep closing your book. Mi she'ena meriach. Eina mevarach ala Besomim. Ele im kein nischavan lohoitzi b'nei beisa katanim shegiel lechinuch oy lohoitzi mi she'en yodea. Very interesting. What about someone who hasn't got the sense of smell? What does he do? COVID. Yeah, this was very, very common. So someone who hasn't got a sense of smell should not make the bracha on the Besomim unless he's being moitzi someone who hegiel lechinuch oy lohoitzi mi she'en yodea. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Yud Aleph. Mi she'ena mereach. Hainu. She'enu chush hareach. He hasn't got the chush hareach. He hasn't got the sense of smell. Take a look at footnote 12. What if he can smell, but he's not sure if these besomim have any fragrance? So, what do you do? Or if he's mesupik whether he can smell them or not. Just test it. Test it. Can you smell this or not? Jumping to the next paragraph. But what about, I can smell, but right now I've got a bit of a cold and I can't really smell as well. You can't make a bracha on the Besomim if right now you can't smell it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Since generally you can, so if you're not sure, then either just try and smell it beforehand, but if you're masubak, then you can be moitzi other people. Okay, lahaitzi. And you need to smell straight after you've made the bracha. So the Mechaber said, if you haven't, you're not able to smell, you don't make a bracha on the Besomim, unless being moitzi others, and they smell straight away. The sovereign only for children who the shari. Because it's a chinuch issue. But not to be moitzi someone otherwise. To kiven shu ena mechuyev bedava, and you can't be moitzi them. So if I'm not mechuyev in it because I can't smell, I can't be moitzi other people their obligation to smell the Besomim. For after be'etzem kiddush Havdala yochel yitzi acherim afal pisha ena chayiv bedava. True, I've made kiddush already, and I can therefore, but I can still be moitzi other people. Kagon sheyotzim mikvah, for example, I've already been made. Shani hasam, there's difference. Shein chayva al kol ish Yisrael v'chol Yisrael arevim zelazeh. There, everyone is mechuyev in kiddush, and if I've already heard kiddush, I can still be moitzi other people. Mashe'en kein here with Havdala, if I can't smell. Who rak minag chachomim. The whole concept of Besomim is a minag chachomim. And I don't have to run and go crazy to find Besomim if I haven't got a Motzei Shabbos or Chedel El B'Sifalef, like we said in the beginning. Who doime lechol birchas hanenin she'en yochel lahitz achem birchosim ein hanenin as ba'atzmai. And therefore, like any other birchas hanenin, if I didn't get hana, I can't be moitzi you. If you're eating a piece of cake, I can't make a mazonis and be moitzi if I'm not eating a piece of cake. Or Chedel B'Sim Kuf Samazayin Sifyutes. V'alkein hu adin, and so too over here. Misha hivdil kva, someone who's already made Havdala, v'yesho chush harech, and he can smell. Ubarech ala Besomim, and he's already made a bracha on the Besomim. Ubala havta pamacheres b'shvil acherim, and I'm coming to be moitzi other people. I'm making Havdala a second time. Yoriach oid ba'atzme pamacheres kadesh yuchel oid hapam levarech b'Besomim. So I'm making Havdala a second time. Again, make the Besomim and smell it, because otherwise, how can I be moitzi the other person if I don't smell it the second time? V'da, and no. What some people do, they don't want to be yotze from the guy making, and they just do it themselves, and they're making a bracha whilst I'm saying the rest of Havdala. That's not a good thing. They're not doing halacha. I'm being moitzin with Havdala. They've got to listen to Havdala. And they should be making other brachas when I'm in the middle of Havdala. Aside from this, I'm trying to be moitzin everybody with my bracha. The Barav Madras Melech. Not everyone should be making their own individual brachas. You're very far from the thing, from the flame. Then you're not being yotze. That's why you should come a bit closer and make sure that you can see the candle. You should wait till after Havdala and then get close to the Eish and then make the bracha. So just to summarize, the Besomim, that it's very important that you. It's a minute to have besomim. That is one of the things we do as part of Havdala. However, if there aren't besomim, then ein tzarich lachzor acharim. You have to drive yourself mad to get them. And there are certain besomim you don't make it on, like beis hakisei and things like that. And importantly, when you're making Havdala, you should only make a besomim if you can smell. If you've got the chush hareach, if you can't smell, if you've got COVID or whatever, then other people will make the bracha of besomim. And if you're not sure, you're allowed to test beforehand if you can smell or not, and then you can go ahead if you can and make it. And if you're making Havdalah a second time to be motzi other people, even though you've said it, you should still make the bracha of besomim a second time. Otherwise, you're not being able to be motzi other people.
And then there is just as a side.